Hello, I'm Cindy Arenberg Seltzer, President and CEO of the Children's Services Council of Broward County. Welcome to another episode of Future First, Focus on Broward's Children. For years, the CSC has promoted information on the Earned Income Tax Credit so that every resident of Broward County that is eligible files for it. As part of this campaign, we have funded county-wide volunteer income tax assistance sites where IRS-trained volunteers provide eligible taxpayers with free tax preparation services. Over the years, the CSC-funded EITC campaign has brought back into our community more than $150 million. That's why the CSC and other community partners are going beyond just helping with the returns. We have now embarked upon a full-fledged prosperity campaign. A key partner in these efforts is the Broward County Community Action Agency. Under the leadership of Lauderdale Lakes Mayor Barrington Russell, the CAA works to improve the lives of low-income Broward County residents, and by extension, raising the levels of prosperity for the entire community. Joining me to discuss asset building and the success of programs that provide stability and prosperity opportunities to all are Mayor Barrington Russell and Shatara Piedrasanta, Program Development Specialist. Later, we will hear from Ms. Alicia Graham, a CAA Program Participant. Thank you both for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. It's a pleasure being here.
It's my pleasure to have a fan on the show.
Indeed. I'm one of your chief fans, by the way. So.
And I appreciate that.
Indeed, yeah.
Shatara, I want to start with you. Can you please explain what the Community Action Agency is? I'm sure many of our viewers have never heard of it.
Okay. Well, the Community Action Agency, our main focus is moving families to self-sufficiency and transforming communities, as well as providing services to low-income families. Now, Community Action Agency, also known as CAA, we have two federally funded programs. One is the LIHEAP program, which stands for the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, where we can help families with their energy bills. And then our other program is the Community Services Block Grant, where we provide a family self-sufficiency program. Both of these programs have a eligibility criteria that individuals will have to meet. For the LIHEAP program, families have to be at or below 150% of the federal poverty guidelines. And the CSBG program, families have to be at or below 125% of the poverty guidelines.
Give folks an idea, if you can, a ballpark of what that means, 150 or 125% of poverty. Because
Okay.
it's pretty low.
It is. It's very low. And so, for instance, if it's an individual, a household of one, and they're making minimum wages, they will not qualify for our program.
Wow. So it's less than minimum wage.
Yes. But we do, as far as with determining eligibility, we look at the income of the entire household. And so, for instance, if there's a family of three, then it's the guideline moves. I know for a family of one, it's a little bit over 14,000. And I'm not quite sure of the exact numbers off the top of my head, but for a family of three, I think it's close to 23,000. So as long as the family is at or below that amount, they qualify for the services.
Do they have to be working? Do they have to be wage earners that are earning that little? Or
Now, for our self-sufficiency program, our focus is to help them become self-sufficient, and the way that we do that is through training and education. And so let's say if a person is not working, but they do have income coming in their household, so they're stable, they're able to meet their basic needs, even if it's with other assistance, then we can help them go back to school. It is a case management program, so it's not just financial assistance where we're, providing the tuition assistance. Although we do provide financial assistance, they're federal dollars, so we do have to be accountable. We're not just throwing money at problems. We really want to work with the family so that, they can set goals, and we'll help them eliminate barriers so that they can be on the path to self-sufficiency.
I talked a little bit in the opening about the Earned Income Tax Credit, and that money, if they are eligible for getting that back in the taxes, can provide the foundation for another program I believe you're involved in, the Individual Development Accounts. Can you talk a little bit about how that works?
Okay. For the IDA program, basically, It's a partnership between Broward County Family Success Administration Division, which CAA does fall underneath that division, as well as a partnership with the Urban League. The Urban League actually administers the services while Family Success has the oversight. And so basically families who are interested in either going back to school, starting a small business, or owning a home, if they do have income, they have employment, they can qualify for that program. And it's basically, it's a 1 to 4 match, but it can be up to a 1 to 8 match, in that the program will match up to $4,000. The minimum amount that they would have to save, because it is an asset development program, they are going to be saving and working towards meeting goals. The minimum amount that they would have to save is the $500, but they can save up to the match amount of $4,000.
Really is encouraging people to work and to save and to work towards goals.
Right.
Indeed, yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. And the great thing about most of the programs, when you look at prosperity and asset building, most of the onus is on the individual. We're just providing a lot of the support. And so, you know, if it's looking at budgeting, we're not saying you need to do this and that. It's, okay, so this is your budget. Are there things that you need to change within your budget? How do we prioritize? And really, like, the main focus is to help stabilize them and then move them to that higher place of self-sufficiency.
Mayor, I want to bring you into the conversation here because you're the chair of the board.
Indeed, yes.
You're an important man.
Don't know about that.
How did you get involved with the Community Action
Yes,
Agency?
it's interesting. I was elected to the mayorship in 2008 to the city of Lauderdale Lakes. And I was told that Commissioner Eileen Lieberman, former mayor of Broward County, contacted my office to see if I was interested in serving on the board. At that time, I had very little knowledge about the Community Action Agency. But once I determined what the mission was, then I couldn't say no. And I've been serving since that time, and they made me the chair of the board, and I'm enjoying that. But we have a fabulous group of persons who actually, I think, understand the needs of these people who are less able to take care of themselves. And we have people from various sectors of the society, which I think give a good balance to the needs and to understand what we really need to do to sort of help people go forward, as Shandra has indicated. So I was appointed by Eileen 2008, and we have a wide cross-section, as I indicated, and really, I think I serve on a number of boards and organizations, but I think this is one of the better boards that I really have the opportunity to serve on, because it's such a great place to understand the needs of people who really need help to go to the next level, whether it is helping a mother, having somebody take care of her child while she's at school or at work, or things of that nature. In fact, I remember when I was just appointed there was a situation with one of the recipients who I think had a heart problem, and her light was turned off like on the weekend. And there were some issues with how that happens. And I made a suggestion then to the then administrator, what could we talk to FPL to see whether once a person's light is going to be turned off, if we could have a prior notice to say, well, this person is about to be cut off. And she was concerned about privacy and so on. And I said, well, it seems to me it's more important for a person to live than to die. If your light is turned off on Friday and you're going to wait until Monday for that to be turned on, I thought it was okay. So they did. And it turned out that FPL was agreeable to that, and it worked. So I think from time to time, you want to have persons who have the ability to understand the real needs so that you can prevent it rather than cure it, so to speak. But the membership of the board, great set of people to work with. And I can't thank Shatara and the rest of the staff, Pat West, who leads the organization. It's a fabulous set of employees, and these are people who are abused in many cases by the very recipients of the program. So in addition to, well, they come and they make certain demands based on their needs. And in many cases, they have to sort of put up with that kind of thing. And even though they're trying to help them, but the demand is so much that is the kind of thing that you have to put up with from time to time. So again, it's a great opportunity for me to be there, and the opportunity is really boundless, because there's so much kind of situations that you have to put up with, and the needs are varying, and usually somebody on the board has the ability to understand where this person is coming from, to sort of help them adjust their situation.
I think you were saying before the show
Yes.
that it's a tripartite board. So you
Yes.
have elected officials,
Exactly.
you have community members,
Exactly.
and then what was the business?
sector.
Private
Yes.
sector.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's great. People are
Indeed.
coming from different perspectives
Absolutely.
to look at the issue.
Absolutely.
And then what's their role? What is the job of the board?
The board is basically a policy-making body, but in this case, the policy we do our thing based on the advisement that is provided to us from the staff, because they're more intimately involved and familiar with what the needs are. So they'd make recommendation to us, and we also have what's called an executive committee that sort of predetermine what goes into the minutes and so on and what we do, so that the members get familiar with what really needs to be done, so we can focus on that, and that is how we get a chance to make a more informed decision in terms of what we need to do to provide the best help to these people.
And Shatara, what are you seeing as the biggest challenges facing the low-income citizens in Broward?
Employment is always a big issue, employment and childcare. And so, I talked about our primary focus being education, so that people can get the training and skills that are necessary in order to get the jobs that are out there. Now, I think with just the climate that's going on, the climate of things that are happening in the federal government and the uncertainty of dollars and how that trickles down and affect locally what goes on, there tends to be a lot of uncertainty. And so when you have clientele who are already having difficulty meeting their basic needs, and then knowing that all these other things are happening as well, you have people, one, who at times are uncertain and don't trust the system. When you talk about just to backtrack a little bit, we talked about the eligibility criteria. And so we have to collect all this documentation. We need your paycheck stubs. We need your Social Security information. We need all that information in order to make sure that you're eligible for these federal dollars. And sometimes that's difficult for people to understand that we're not just collecting papers just to collect them, but in order to qualify you for these services, that's what's needed. And so when he talked about sometimes we have irate customers,
Exactly.
it's on all levels, from LAHEAP, where it's just energy assistance, so that's more emergency assistance, all the way down to the self-sufficiency program. One, you have people who, I just want to go to school, pay for this. What's the problem? Why can't you do that? To all these other things. And so I think as social service providers, like, we have to be sensitive to the other barriers that they're facing and not feel like it's personal, and, to really empathize with what's going on and seeing, one, how we can remove some of those initial layers that prevents them from trusting, and understanding, well, this is what's needed in order for us to get to that next point, and then to take that journey with them.
Sure.
Because the journey to self-sufficiency is
a
a
long
long road, So even, when you look at our training programs, we work primarily with the public schools, and so it's more of the technical schools like Atlantic, McFadder, and Sheridan Tech. We also do Broward College, but it's more of the short-term programs because we do have to have outcomes. It is results driven. And so in that sense, even the short-term programs, most of them are about a year long, but even 6 months, when you ask the question about employment, the importance of them having the income is, they are working towards training, but they're not going to finish that training program until 6 months. So what's going on now? Although we can provide some ancillary services and emergency assistance, like we can do bus passes if necessary, and then through family success, there is a criteria that they would have to meet, but there's rent assistance and other emergency assistance, but it's usually only 1 month. And so if that person can't sustain themselves while they're doing this program,
Absolutely.
they're not going to be successful,
Indeed.
you know.